All right, we're on air.
Right. All right. All right, Brandon, I'm going to interview you for an HR position. I have 9 questions. Okay. First question is, tell me about your education.
Okay, so last year I spent a year at Central Washington University, and then I transferred over here to Green River, and then I will be starting at the University of Washington Tacoma in the fall.
Okay, that sounds great. Let me see. How would you handle employees that went against company policy?
Well, I would, right now I'm in a leadership position where I do have to deal with this type of issue. And let's say that somebody doesn't comes in out of dress code, for an example. What I do now is I will pull them to the back room off the floor and explain to them that they are out of dress code and try and get them to understand the reason why it's not okay for them to be in the way that they're dressed, and just try and give them some type of feedback in the explanation of why they can't dress like that in the workplace.
Okay, well, that sounds good. What would you do to raise company morale?
Can you explain like what you kind of mean by morale?
Well, everybody's mad at management because they're, I'm just doing this off the top of my head. Let's see. Because they're making you work overtime, mandatory overtime. How about that?
Okay. Well, you know, the overtime, there's usually an incentive of time and a half that, you know, can help out, but also, you know, like I could, you know, let me give me a minute to think this question through real quick. I think that I could lead by example, and you know, if they have to come in, I have to come in, and you know, just kind of lead by example through that way as well, so that they don't feel kind of left out, you know, and just kind of like they're the only ones asked to do it.
Okay, well, that's great. What are your 5-year goals?
Well, I am someone that I like to push myself, and I would like to kind of climb through the ranks as the years go on, and just, you know, I see myself in this position. You know, I for the next 5 years, I don't plan on going anywhere, and you know, if it turns into, if there's a promotion that I could get through it, then I'm always looking to work towards the next, you know, what the next level could be, or you know, what I can do to go above and beyond.
Okay, that sounds great. Let's see. How would you manage an employee with many absences because of a sick child?
I think that you know, the first few is understandable, but then once it becomes repeated, if they use that as a reason multiple times, then that might be an issue to talk about. Of, hey, you know, maybe consider someone to take care of your child or something like that, because you know, if they're scheduled and they're constantly calling out, that becomes an issue. And you know, I understand that people have children and that can be a tough thing to do, but there's also a job that you have to come in to do. And you know, every once in a while, like I said, that's understandable, but if it's excessive, then that might be something to be addressed.
Yes. Okay, that sounds good. Now let me see. What about your work experience?
I've worked at Starbucks for the last 3 years. I started as a barista, and then I'm now in a lead position. So I work with cash, I run shifts. If there's an issue on the floor, I'm the first person that they go to. And then if I cannot resolve the issue, then I go to my managers. But I try to avoid that as much as I can, especially because I work nights. So, they're off the clock. And, when they're off the clock, I feel like I'm the one that should be able to resolve the issues.
Yeah.
And, I take pride in being able to resolve situations that could be difficult for others to resolve.
Well, that's great. Okay. Well, you probably already said this, but what are your strengths?
My strengths, I think leadership is definitely one of them. If I see someone kind of falling behind, then I will go and check up on them and see what I can do to help improve their experience and try and improve their abilities. And also, I follow policy. Whether I like it or not, the policy is what it is for that company, and
Yep.
it should be respected and followed for me and my coworkers and employees.
Okay. Now, how would you assemble a piece of furniture without any instructions?
Well, I would probably start out by kind of, like if there's like screws or something like that, there could be different sizes. So then I could look at the sizes of the holes and the screws, and then try and assemble it that way. And then, I could just try and figure out how to.
I'm looking at the finished product, at the box of the finished product. That would help.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. And then do you feel there would be any great challenges facing HR in the future?
Yeah. So like you want me to give you an example of a challenge I could be facing or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, if there's two employees that have a disagreement, that's usually, something that will be brought to me. And then, I can act as like a mediator between the two and try and figure out what the root of the problem is and try and get to the bottom of it and get it resolved as quickly as I can. Yeah.
Well, that sounds great. Okay, well, that was my end of my questions there. I think you've done a wonderful job. So it's very nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, so I think we're done.
All right.